Now, Joe Biden, Mickey Mouse, and Sean Hannity don't just become pro-trans out of nowhere. From where does it come then? I'm glad you asked. So the goals before us are fairly straightforward. First, don't get eaten by the dragon. Second, drive the cross through the dragon's skull. Now this indeed sounds basic enough, but things do get complicated. This two-pronged mission to which we have been called is complicated by the fact that many of the covenant people are in danger of being eaten by the dragon, entirely unaware that he is about to have them for lunch. Moreover, when a few King Arthurs come along to slay the vile beast, the evangelical light police throw the tone flag and put the knights in the penalty box of bad reputations. So that is the lay of the land, but all of it needs more detail. So here we go. The dragon's rainbow colors. For some time now, the dragon has operated incognito, but we are very thankful that he has begun to show his colors. He did so this past week at the Magic Kingdom, the White House, and yes, Fox News. First, leaked videos surfaced showing Disney officials pushing an LGBTQ agenda. These videos show a Disney official saying that the company is resolved to push queer stories and advance gender non-conforming characters. Second, Joe Biden released a video to mark the International Transgender Day of Visibility. It falls on March 31st if you haven't been paying attention. Biden took it upon himself to instruct parents in the following manner, quote, "To parents of transgender children, affirming your child's identity is one of the most powerful things you can do to keep them safe and healthy." He meant, of course, it is the most powerful thing you can do to keep them in danger, sick, in chains, and insane. Biden insists that you start this process as early as possible. Indeed, you must begin in kindergarten, as evidenced by his opposition to the recent Parental Rights and Education bill that Governor DeSantis down in Florida has signed into law. Finally, it was announced that Caitlyn Jenner, the man who won Woman of the Year, was joining Fox News as an on-air contributor. Now, no one should be surprised by the Disney leaked videos. Disney has been unhinged for years, so old news and all that. In the second position, Joe Biden really has risen to new levels of offense with his video. He has promoted child abuse, plain and simple, and should be removed from office post-haste. Fox News, however, Fox News has proven themselves to be the silliest show in town. Fox posted an article about the Disney videos entitled "Disney Exposed." Fox wants us to be uncomfortable with Disney's gay agenda as they advance their own gay agenda. Now, Joe Biden, Mickey Mouse, and Sean Hannity don't just become pro-trans out of nowhere. Yes, it has to do with money and fear, but it doesn't only have to do with money and fear. From where does it come then? I'm glad you asked. The androgynous priest and his religion. Peter Jones has made the point that throughout time and across space, the pagan cultist consistently holds as its sexual representative the emasculated androgynous priest. Jenner is that emasculated androgynous priest, and Fox News has platformed that priest of the pagan cultists to reconcile people to a false god. Jones goes on to define this paganism as monism, the belief that one principle defines and unites all of reality. Thus, all is one. Jones has argued convincingly that the new sexuality of the sexual revolution is an expression of age-old religious paganism. That paganism is the real dragon. The LGBTQ rainbow is not itself the dragon, but merely the colors in which the dragon has decked itself. My friend Doug Wilson has called the LGBTQ rainbow pomosexuality to make the point that it is the central selling point for postmodern relativism. In one of the most timely paragraphs I can think of, he adds, quote, "When God gave us the world, he gave us certain building blocks for the understanding, heaven and earth, sea and dry land, sun and moon, and male and female. Let me try to imagine a place which had heaven and earth muddled, sea and dry land reversed, sun and moon backwards, and the female in combat and the male in drag, but where everybody was sound on Christ crucified and justification by faith alone. Can't picture that? Neither can I." The dragon and the cross. As I mentioned before, the dragon himself is paganism, and God is so kind that he has given us a historic symbol so that we would understand this particular error. That symbol goes by the name of Ouroboros. You have likely seen the image before. It is a dragon or a snake wound around in a circle, eating its own tail. Chesterton spoke fittingly when he said, quote, The great Asiatic symbol of the serpent with its tail and its mouth is really a very perfect image of a certain idea of unity and recurrence that does indeed belong to the Eastern philosophies and religions. It really is a curve that in one sense includes everything and in another sense comes to nothing. That symbol of the self-devouring dragon signifies the monist paganism of our day, which teaches that all is one. And the cookies are on the bottom shelf here. The dragon is eating itself. So that one unity and recurrence that includes everything, thus the circle, really does come to zero, thus the circle. In other words, it is empty, like the wisdom well of Fox News. The cross, however, is a different symbol and a different religion. The true religion, which does not lead to the bottomless pit into which that dragon is falling as he eats himself. Chesterton explains, quote, "The cross does convey, almost by a mathematical diagram, the truth about the real point at issue, the idea of a conflict." In other words, the cross does really stand for the idea of breaking out of the circle that is everything and nothing. It does escape from the circular argument by which everything begins and ends in the mind. So the cross signals conflict, and it is at that grand intersection that man is freed from living in his own head. It is at that grand point of conflict that Christ triumphs over the serpent. It is at that cross that man can escape the empty abyss of the outer darkness. But the trouble is that many evangelicals don't want the conflict. They want a tone, a style, an approach, and a life that is smooth, like the scales of a dragon, pliable, like a snake. And come to find out, that way cannot break man out of his circular pagan lusts and pagan faith. Far too many Christians are willing to live according to the dragon's circle down here on earth. Their cross is up there in the sky. Their Christianity is up, and their day-to-day life is down here operating according to a different symbol. Several of these people are now a good halfway down the dragon's gullet, and some of them are discovering that their worldview is far more pagan than Christian, more circle than cross. The question before the Christian church now is, are you prepared to take up that cross and follow Jesus? That indeed involves dying on it, and it also involves driving that cross through the snake's cranium. Golgotha was, after all, the place of a skull that was pierced by a wooden stake on which was a sign that read, King of the Jews. If I might say it plainly, Christians must awake to the fact that the dragon is on the rise in America, and they must join themselves to a people that are not dragon's food. It is not enough to be a people who are at war with the dragon's colors. Plenty of saints are not at ease with his rainbow banner. But these very same people are being slowly devoured by the dragon himself. Disney is now in his belly. Fox News is too. And if you would not be, then you must find a Christian community that understands that Christ came to destroy the works of the devil. That would be a Christian community in which you would find the sentiment of Chesterton when he said, quote, "We might say that when St. George thrust his spear into the monster's jaws, he broke in upon the solitude of the self-devouring serpent and gave it something to bite besides its own tail."